Thank you. Yes. Um, Welcome to the September 16th, 2025 meeting of the Planning Board. First, we'll take a roll call to introduce board members and staff. Mike Derderian.
Here, sorry.
No worries. Maureen
Rough start.
Collins-White.
Rough start.
Here.
Phil Giordano.
I'm here.
And I'm Ellen Rawlings. I'm also here. We're also joined by Elijah Romulus, our town planner, Jessica Cole, our recording secretary, and Lucas Saletti from Westwood Media Center. This meeting is recorded by Westwood Media Center and broadcast live on local cable television Comcast Channel 6 and Verizon Channel 42. Meetings are also live on the Westwood Media Center's YouTube channel. If you're interested in joining the meeting via Zoom, you can find the login directions in the planning board meeting notice that is posted to the calendar section of the town's webpage at https://www.townhall.westwood.ma.us/. We will begin the meeting with only the board members and staff unmuted and on video. As the chair recognizes individuals to speak, we will unmute them. Board members may choose to mute themselves when they are not speaking in order to minimize background noise. For applications, the chair will first invite the applicant to address the board and give a presentation summarizing what is being requested. Board members receive the application materials prior to the meeting and will have reviewed them. Board members may ask questions during and following the presentation. Staff and outside experts will provide comments to the board. If the issue includes a public hearing, the board will then proceed to the public comment portion of the public hearing and will restate the instructions. In this remote meeting format, residents and guests may participate in several ways. Attendees should raise their hand and wait to be unmuted and recognized to speak over the Zoom meeting application or from a telephone dial-up. We will be able to hear you but not see you. Additionally, comments may be submitted by email or regular mail prior to the meeting. When we come to that part of the meeting, I will remind everyone of the process. Following the public comment portion, the board will deliberate and make a decision or continue the hearing to a specific future date. All remote meetings require that votes be taken by roll call. When a motion and second has been made, the chair will ask if there's any further discussion before proceeding to a roll call vote and will then restate the results of the vote. All right, Elijah, any changes to our agenda this evening?
No changes to the agenda.
Excellent. Oh, it looks like we've also been joined by Nora Loughnane, our Director of Community and Economic Development. Welcome, Nora. All right, with no changes to the agenda, then our first agenda item is 9 and 11 Stonegate Lane, consideration of proposed approval not required, A&R
plan. Yes, so the applicant for this A&R proposal, Paul and Kim Malay, both had proposed a slight exchange of parcels between two lots under common ownership, which results in essentially a lot line change. I can share the plan here. So this is the lot that that the home is on, and there's a well here that they wanted to ensure was on their property in the event that this gets sold off as a separate parcel. And so they took the square footage that makes up this piece of land here, and they added it to the back of the lot here. And so it's an even exchange of 731 square feet. And this meets all of the zoning requirements as it relates, or not zoning requirements, but A&R requirements as it relates to frontage, the lot size, ensuring that there's access on a road, that there's vital access, and it also meets all of the town's subdivision requirements per our subdivision rules and regs section 3.1. And so I would, I guess, open it up to the chair.
Yeah, thank you. This seems pretty straightforward. Thank you for putting it up on the screen so that we can all take a look at it. If that's it for staff comments at this time, I'll open it up to board member comments, questions, input.
I had no comments. It seemed very straightforward.
Thanks, Phil.
I agree.
Same. I agree too.
Yeah, same. And I know I said this to you the other day, Elijah, but I'll say it again. I really appreciate you doing kind of the pre-screening and making sure that the 7 or 8 criteria that are required for an A&R plan are satisfied before it comes to us, because that makes this part of the meeting go a little faster. So thank you for that. I had no other comments or questions on this. It did seem very straightforward, and I get it's just that that other lot does not have anything on it. It's an undeveloped lot at this point, and they just wanted to ensure that if and when that changes and it doesn't belong to them, they're not going to have to do this later. Is that the correct read on this? Okay.
That's right.
Excellent. Okay, yeah, I had nothing else. So if nobody else has any questions, comments, I would entertain a motion.
Maureen, do you want to read this one and I'll take the longer ones after this?
I was
Where
wondering
is
if
Sean?
somebody
Where
would
is Sean
ask.
when we need him?
Should I go as fast as Sean or no?
Yeah.
Well, if you want me to do it, Maureen, I can do it.
No, I'm good. I can do it.
Okay. Okay. All
All
yours.
right. All right. This is a proposed motion to endorse. I move that the planning board find the approval not required application for 9 and 11 Stonegate Lane dated September 10th, 2025 to be complete, and that the board vote to endorse the submitted plan as not required approval upon the subdivision control laws.
A second.
All right. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll take roll call. Maureen,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Phil?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. That motion carries. All right, that was all the action we had to take on that agenda item. So the next agenda item is 100 Station Drive, consideration of proposed modification to a project development review PDR approval for site changes, including parking, landscaping, lighting, and building orientation at 100 Station Drive, which is the Home2 Hotel. All right. Do we have anyone here from the applicant team?
I do not believe so, Madam Chair, but I can fill in.
Great. Thank you.
Yes, no problem. So the Home2 Hotel applicants, they had submitted some conformance plans to the to our department for review to see if it met the previously approved plans from 2022. We went through the plans and did notice that there were some minor changes. Of those changes, it involved some of the building dimensions being changed. They were looking to do more of a modular design of their building. There was some changes to the site plan that they added an emergency generator. The lighting on the site was changed from the previous plan. They revised some of the curbs per Westwood's fire code. And then there was some minor landscape adjustments. And then the number of EV charging station parking spaces that'll go along with those were increased to meet Massachusetts Energy Code. And so while any of those specific changes may have been a administrative change, the fact that, you know, they were a list of minor changes, the building commissioner felt it was best that we go that the applicant go before the board to get a modification of the project development review approval. And so in addition to some of those minor changes, I did notice that the plan set needed some updated signage and details related to the electric vehicles for the spaces. The new lighting that they proposed did not include the cut sheets to give some of the detail for the lighting. And then the bike rack that they proposed was not in line with the board's rules and regulations for a approvable or acceptable bike rack. And so I suggested those changes be made to the applicant, and I know I sent the board a summary that included a specific condition if the board were to approve this. Since that summary went out, the applicant did actually, in fact, update the plan set to include all of the changes. So including the signage detail. I think I can bring up a plan for that. Yeah, so they let me see if I can share my screen. So they did provide like the signage detail for the EV chargers. They submitted a new bike rack design for the bike racks for the bicycles on site, and I'd have to pull up the cut sheets, but they did also submit the lighting plan cut sheets. I can try and work through and pull that up quickly. All in all, given that they did meet the requests and the needs for updates, I don't see an issue with the board, if so inclined, approving this modification. And so this is the cut sheet for the light poles, as you can see, with the downlight functionality. And then there is some cut sheets for the bollards that they have on site as well. Kind of along the lines that you would see at a hotel. And so, yeah, I think that kind of entails all the changes that I had. And I also have a copy of the site plan if the board would like to see that.
Mhm.
Thank you. All right. At this point then, I will open it up to board member questions and comments. Anyone? Mike?
I was just going to say, all of these modifications look like they were just slightly improving the design and the features of the property. So I thought everything looked pretty good, and Elijah's additions as well. So I didn't really have any comments on this, but thought it was an improvement.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I would just echo Mike's, and they certainly seem to be an improvement and minor, and I'm very comfortable with everything.
Excellent. Anyone else?
No, they were minor, and I just wanted to know, can I see a picture of the building itself? Do you mind, please? Because I just wanted to know where those lights were going. Because I've driven by there numerous times, and I'm just trying to envision how that hotel is going to be sitting on that piece of property.
Right, this application was handled by the board before
Yeah.
you were on the board. So yes, it'd be good to revisit that.
Yeah, I was looking at it and I'm saying it's a massive parking lot. And I'm assuming it's the one with all the weeds on it.
Yes. So,
Yes, okay.
the area with the lights, you can see some of the poles and lighting. So they indicate kind of on the curb, and then also throughout the site. They have some. Let's see if I can go through plan set here.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, let me pull up the lighting plan. It's taking a little while.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
So this indicates some lighting that is being proposed on the building. There are a few throughout the site marked in blue. So like right here. Oh. Yeah, this plan is a little, I think with all the numbering, it just gets a little hard to really indicate. But yeah, so kind of here, there's a few in the front of the building on the corners.
And that's actually the street that leads up to where the Citizens Bank is, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And there are some, as you can see, like kind of right here, some parking lot lighting poles. And yeah. And this also indicates while we're here, it shows kind of the area where the electric vehicles will be dedicated. To the left, in the front of the building, there are some ADA spaces as well for EVs. The emergency generator has been added in the back of the building right here. And yeah.
So there's none like at the back of the building, it's just at the front, correct?
From what I can see, there.
Oh, right there. Yep, I see that. Okay. Yep. And just one other question, and then I'm done.
Of course.
How do you know how far back on that parking lot the building goes? Because there's like a slight incline. Do you know how much of does that take up almost the whole parking lot? Is there still some left?
Like how far the building is from the rear.
Correct, where the guardrail is.
So at least for the parcel, the building is set off, looks like 75 feet from the edge of the lot line.
Thank you, Elijah.
No problem.
That was my question.
Those are good questions. Any other questions or comments?
No,
So I have a big.
to see. Yeah.
So I am looking and did look at their planting plan again, and I know we went over this when we talked to them before. Unless we just haven't been provided with an updated one, I'm seeing they've even flagged them as non-native species, some native hybrids, which I'm not super excited about, some native to the US, but not native to Massachusetts. And they have a couple of things like Grollo sumac they're claiming is native to Massachusetts. It's not. So Elijah, rather than taking the time now, I will mark this up and then you and I know you can administratively look at that, but for me, their planting plan is still not acceptable. They haven't made any changes and they're still listing non-native, like a Siberian spruce, that's not a United States plant even, so that's off the mark. So their planting plan needs to be updated as, I don't remember exactly the conversation from a couple of years ago, but if they have an updated plan, they should submit it. And if not, they need to create an updated plan and submit it. So that would be my one thing to remind them that they have not fulfilled that requirement.
Yes, for sure. Let me really quickly. I can make a condition that kind of covers that.
Awesome. And if you want me to send you my notes, I can. They're extensive. Or if you want to just go through that together yourself or with them directly, that I'm cool with it either way, because I know you use the same resources I do. But yeah, that was my one note.
Yes, please. If you wouldn't mind sending.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Excellent. So yeah, as long as we add that into the conditions to make sure that when we get a final planting plan, it actually meets our requirements for all Massachusetts native, that would be good. Aside from that, I didn't have anything else. The rest, I'm very happy to see more EV chargers because I see more EVs on the road. So I think that's a good thing. Or, preparing for more EV chargers. I think that's a good thing. And everything else, I agree, all look like improvements. So I have no other comments or objections. So once that condition is ready, I would happily entertain. Do we have two motions on this one?
This one is one motion.
One motion. All right.
All right. I will share my screen now. And just to emphasize or see if this kind of meets it, I wrote prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall provide an updated landscape plan with Massachusetts native plant species to meet Westwood's rules and regulations for review and approval by the town planner.
Can we just say all Massachusetts native plant species? Because that plan makes me think they still think they have some leeway, and I just wanted to be really clear that they do not. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, I think that makes it clear what the expectation is. So I appreciate that condition. Thank you. So now I would happily entertain a motion if there's no further discussion.
Mike, you taking this?
Yeah, I'll take this. I move that the planning board grant the requested modification to the project development review PDR approval for 100 Station Drive as described in the application, therefore submitted to the planning board and filed in the office of the town clerk on September 10, 2025, subject to the following conditions. 1, except as modified by the conditions and finding hereof, the project shall comply with the project plans and with the conditions of all prior decisions for the property in all respects, and the applicant shall pursue completion of the project with reasonable diligence and continuity. 2, if the project or any condition imposed in this decision requires any other permit, license, or other approval from any town of Westwood board, commissioner, agency, or other Commonwealth or federal regulatory agency, the applicant shall make an appropriate application for the same and shall obtain all required approvals prior to the start of any work. If any condition of such permit, license, or other approval from any other board, committee, or agency is inconsistent with this decision, the applicant shall make an application to the planning board for an amendment of this decision, and the planning board shall consider such application in accordance with the requirements of MGL Chapter 48, Section 9, and all applicable planning board rules and regulations. 3, any proposed alterations, modifications, deletions, or changes to the decision shall be requested in writing to the town planner and building commissioner prior to implementation. A, proposed alterations which are considered de minimis by the building commissioner may be accepted as a note to the file. B, proposed alterations which are considered minor by the building commissioner shall require the filing of a modification application of said approval for review by the planning board at a publicly posted planning board meeting. C, proposed alterations which are determined to be major by the building commissioner or by the planning board shall be considered by the planning board as a formal amendment to the approval and will require a new public hearing before the planning board. 4, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall provide an updated landscape plan with all Massachusetts native plant species to meet Westwood rules and regulations for review and approval by the town planner.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll take roll call. Mike,
Aye.
Maureen,
Aye.
Phil?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. That motion carries. All right, and that was all the action we had to take there. So our next agenda item is 909 High Street, consideration of proposed modification to a consolidated flexible multiple use overlay district FMUOD special permit, environmental impact design review, EIDR approval, and water resource protection overlay district WRPOD approval for a two-phase mixed-use development plan at 909 High Street. That is the Obed Baker House. Do we have anyone representing the applicant? Fabulous.
I am bringing Bradley Sullivan in.
Great.
Oh, Todd Sullivan.
Todd.
Good evening, all.
Good evening, Todd. Welcome.
Well, thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing good, Ellen, and you?
Doing fine. Glad to see you, and very happy to hear some updates on this project. So I'll hand the floor over to you.
So the where we're at now is the cemetery shed, which I've built for the town, is about 99% there. It's built drawing for the sewer department completed and some finished landscaping. It's in good shape. So now I'm ready to roll into the next phase, which is taking down the existing cemetery shed, clearing the lot, doing all the site prep. There's quite a bit I can be doing presently, and I plan on getting that rolling as soon as I can get that shed taken down. The shed's going to be repurposed, which is kind of cool. My excavation contractor is he's gonna cut it into a few pieces and bring it to his site in Walpole, and reconstruct it. So that's kind of cool. It's not going to go to waste. I think it's a 12-year-old building. And where we're at with the old farmhouse, I've got a foundation in. I've reframed the inside, put in the second stairway for the second means of egress, and I've got the windows ordered. So that's ready to go. Nora mentioned, I talked with Nora about this a few weeks ago. She said there is a way of finishing Obed Baker before having the commercial building completed if I use the first floor for office space and finish the second floor. So that's basically why we're here tonight, is to amend that. And I did put together an A&R plan for some wetlands that I'm going to donate back to the town. I'm not sure if that is involved with tonight's meeting or not, but that's where it's at.
Thank you. Just for the folks who are new to the board, the reason that that cemetery shed is coming down, the one that's behind the Obed Baker house now, is because that space is needed to do some of the renos in the addition to the existing Obed Baker house. And Todd did construct a new shed kind of on the cemetery grounds, which I personally think is better anyway. And correct me if I'm wrong, Todd, but that new shed will actually have running water where the current shed does not, right?
Yeah. No, it's a little bit bigger, a little bit wider, a little bit deeper, much better insulated. And yeah, it's got a half bath with a sink. Yeah. So it's definitely an upgrade. I didn't do the math on, I think it's around 15 or 1600 square feet. It's 58 by 32. The existing is 50 by 30, I believe. So yeah, no, it's a little bit bigger, a little bit deeper, a little bit wider.
Definitely, I'm up there fairly regularly, and I pass the progress on my way back out, and it looks great. And to me, it's definitely an improvement over the old shed. But I'm happy to hear the new shed will be reused. That's kind of nice that it's not just going to be demolished and go away. So yeah, I know we have a couple of new board members that weren't necessarily involved with the permitting for the original project. So I just kind of wanted to mention that that's why that whole that shed's going away and new ones replacing it. So
Right.
thank you for that.
And where the existing shed is now on the property is going to be parking.
Right.
So and all the stormwater management for the project is in that parking. So it's kind of like that has to come down to get the project to go, you know? So that's the next step.
Thank you. Elijah, I saw your hand go up.
Yes. I know that I included this in the summary to the board, but just to put it out there. So in terms of the phasing of the project, the Obed Baker House, both floors will be built to residential specs and standards. The first floor, as Todd mentioned, will be used as his office or commercial space. And then once the commercial building is constructed, that will revert back to residential, so that the Obed Baker House is completely residential.
Thank you. That's right, because the original approval was for 2 units, right? Two residential units in the Obed Baker House, and the commercial was going to be separate. Thank you. All right. I'll open it up to board member questions and unless there's any other staff comments before I do that. I'm not seeing Elijah raising his hand again. So, all right, I'll open it up to board member questions and comments at this time. I'm not seeing any hands. Well, that's good. I just wanted to say I'm happy to see a creative solution to solve for the short term that still prepares for the long term. And I really like the donation of the wetlands and the additional. I know there was an additional term there that you had offered, and I really appreciate that. Philanthropy. I'm glad the town's getting the wetlands back because that way they're protected in perpetuity. And I had no issue with the short-term solution. I guess my only question was, how's it going with trying to find someone to move into the eventually built commercial property?
I've got a lot of people that are very interested in it. It's just been a struggle to answer the simple question, when can I move in? So it has to do with finishing the new cemetery shed, which is now just about done, getting the old one torn down, getting the parking squared away, and then I can say, hey, yeah, you can move in 10 minutes. And, that's basically it. I just need to get this phase rolling.
And that's why you're here this evening, right? So, no, that's great.
That's it.
I'm glad to hear you've got some interest since the original tenant didn't work out. So I'm really glad to hear you have people that want to take that space on. And I'm really excited to know that you can move forward once we're done with our work here tonight. So that was really all I had, unless anyone else had any other questions, comments. I believe we have a couple of motions on this one.
That is correct.
All right, I move that the planning board determine that the changes proposed in the application for modification of the Consolidated Flexible Multiple Use Overlay District Special Permit, Environmental Impact Design Review Approval, and Water Resource Protection Overlay District Approval of 909 High Street as described in the application, therefore submitted to the planning board, and filed in the office of the town clerk on September 11, 2025 are minor in nature.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll take roll call. Maureen,
Aye.
Phil,
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. That motion carries. I will entertain the next motion.
I move that the planning board grant the requested modification to the Consolidated Flexible Multiple Use Overlay District Special Permit, Environmental Impact Design Review Approval, and Water Resource Protection Overlay District Approval at 909 High Street as described in the application, therefore submitted to the planning board and filed in the office of the town clerk on September 11, 2025, subject to the following conditions. 1, except as modified by the conditions and findings hereof, the project shall comply with the project plans and with the conditions of all prior decisions in all respect, and the applicant shall pursue completion of the project with reasonable diligence and continuity. 2, if the project or any condition imposed in this decision requires any other permit, license, or other approval from any board or commission or any agency of the town of Westwood or other regulatory agency of the Commonwealth or the federal government, the applicant shall make an appropriate application for the same and shall obtain all required approvals prior to the start of any work. If any condition of such permit, license, or other approval from any other board, committee, or agency is inconsistent with this decision, the applicant shall make application to the planning board for an amendment of this decision, and the planning board shall consider such application in accordance with the requirements of MGL Chapter 48, Section 9, and all applicable planning board rules and regulations. 3, any proposed alterations, modifications, deletions, or changes to the decision shall be requested in writing to the town planner and building commissioner prior to implementation. A, proposed alterations which are considered de minimis by the building commissioner may be accepted as a note to the file. B, proposed alterations which are considered minor by the building commissioner shall require the filing of a modification application of said approval for review by the planning board at a publicly posted planning board meeting. C, proposed alterations which are determined to be major by the building commissioner or by the planning board shall be considered by the planning board as a formal amendment to the approval and will require a new public hearing before the planning board. 4, notwithstanding the above, the town planner may grant administrative EIDR approval for a change of use for the proposed commercial structure if said use is found by the town planner to be A, a commercial use permissible within the FMUOD overlay district, B, a commercial use consistent with the applicant's modified proposal in response to RFP Econ 22R003, which was accepted by the Select Board on June 24, 2024, further modified on September 8, 2025. And C, a commercial use which has parking requirements and traffic generation that are no greater than the parking requirements and traffic generation which were reported to the Planning Board at the time of the original special permit approval in April 2023. 5, if any hazardous materials associated with the proposed commercial use would otherwise require a water resource protection overlay district special permit, then the applicant shall return to the planning board to request an amendment to this FMUOD special permit. 6, prior to the issuance of a building permit for the commercial use building, the applicant must submit an updated site plan reflecting the reduction of the project area per the modified proposal in response to RFP Econ 22R003, which was accepted by the Select Board on September 8, 2025 for review and approval by the town planner. 7, prior to the issuance of the first certificate of occupancy for the Obed Baker House, the applicant must obtain planning board endorsement of an approval not required plan, splitting the 65,887 square foot parcel into a 44993 square foot parcel and a 20,894 square foot parcel, and the applicant must deed the 20,894 square foot parcel to the town of Westwood. 8, a copy of this decision and the project plan shall be kept on the project site at all times during construction.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll take roll call. Maureen,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Phil?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. That motion carries. And I think that was the last piece of action you had to take on this item. So thank you, Todd.
Thank you for your time, guys.
Of course, good luck.
Have a great night.
Yeah, good luck.
You too. All right.
Thanks.
Then our next agenda item is number 4, update on search to fill the planning board vacancy. Elijah, do you have any news for us on that front?
Yes. So since the last meeting we had in August, there was we worked with the select board's office to put forth a advertisement for the vacant position. There was a graphic, like an ad that was also created to go along with the letter advertisement. And so that's made its rounds on social media, looking for, putting the word out. It's been in the Westwood Wire, and we've, on the staff side, have mentioned it to other staffers that staff various boards and committees. And so since then, we have gotten one application. There have been to date 3 inquiries, and the deadline to apply is this coming Monday, the 22nd, at the end of the day. It's I would say it's a soft deadline. So if there were applicants that did, come forth, a day after, we'd still accept it. But so we did. So once that deadline does come, I will share the applications with the board for review. The current date is slated for September 29th for the joint meeting. However, depending on the needs of both boards, so far the date is the 29th, unless things change. So I guess that's the updates I have so far, and anyone that is listening, you can submit your cover letter and your resume to the select board's office to apply for this seat that is vacant. I will just quickly share the graphic that I created for this. You would just bear with me for a second. So yes, anyone who is interested in applying, you can email selectboard@townhall.westwood.ma.us. All are encouraged to apply regardless of experience. We want an active citizenry, and so this position will be until next year's election, and then the seat will be up for whoever the elected individual is by next year's town meeting.
Thank you. And I was just noticing the asterisk. I think it's probably obvious that you have to be a resident of the town of Westwood to qualify to be a board member, but the reminder that you also do have to be an active registered voter. I think that's the subtlety that I don't always remember myself. But yeah, definitely, make sure your vote, if you're interested in applying, make sure your voter registration is up to date and active. Thank you for the update on that. Before I open up to board member questions, the one thing I just want to make sure, do we have everybody if we are having the meeting on the 29th? Because I think it's important that all 4 of us are available for that meeting.
I'll be there.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll be there.
I'll be good. I'll be there too, Ellen.
Excellent. Okay. That would be the only reason that I would, if one of us couldn't make it that night, that would be the only reason that I would petition to maybe shift it. But if we're all available, then I'm happy with the 29th. I appreciate the note about the soft deadline too, because I'm certainly interested in as many applications as we can get, the biggest pool we have to choose from. So if that means if it comes in on the morning of the 23rd and we're not closing the door on that, I'm cool with that too. So with that, I'll open it up to board member questions, comments on this particular topic.
Yeah, Ellen, along those lines, I've been spreading the word, certainly, and I think someone kind of that I know is intending on applying, hopefully more than one person. I think people use the deadline as kind of the date that they bump up against to file it. So I'm hoping we get a bunch of applications toward the end of this week. Elijah and the staff, I appreciate all the work. I thought the graphic looked great. I thank you for developing the letter. I did have a question about the letter and I wanted to make a comment about it. Elijah, can you pull that up? Do you have that handy?
You give me a second, I can grab it. All right. It's loading right now, and let me share my screen. Okay.
Thank you for pulling that up. I appreciated your comment before, Elijah, that all candidates are encouraged to apply, and we definitely want to encourage an active citizenry. I believe in the letter, the letter included some language that I wouldn't have, voted to include in the letter. I think it's the language about, let me see, like a preference for design experience. I can't find the line on the spot here, but I just wanted to highlight, that, if you don't have specific design or engineering experience, you can still apply to this position. This letter under Massachusetts law, the select board, had the right to drive this application process. My understanding is the staff here helped them develop this letter and draft it, but the planning board itself did not have any approval over this letter, right? We were not asked to review it. We did not approve it. And I guess the comment I had, and it's not a big deal, but I wanted to raise it, and this might not come up that often. But this went out under the planning board seal with all the planning board members' names on it. So when I got inquiries about whether this was a requirement to have design or engineering experience, and I said no, and I said, in fact, I think the majority of the board would say no. They asked why I signed off on a letter that had my name at the top of it. And so that kind of alerted me to this, I think, quirk, where, the select board drove this process, used the staff appropriately to draft the letter, but it came out as a planning board document, which I think members of the public would assume the planning board approved. So I just wanted to raise that with you and the rest of the board. I thought it was a little strange. Again, not a huge deal, but I just wanted to note it, as we talk about this. So
Thank you. I see your point.
Totally.
And the last time we had to do this, I was not chair, so I'm not really sure what that side of the process was. So, and it is, I don't want to say it's weird because that's the wrong connotation, but it was surprising to me that per mass law that the select board kind of drives the process. So parts of this are a little murky to me about who has purview over what and what parts are collaborative and what parts aren't. But I appreciate your point. Any other board members' thoughts on?
I'll echo Mike's comments. While the select board might be driving the process, and there may not have been a formal vote, it's a planning board seat. So I just echo that. I think it's useful for us to be kept in the loop, even just a quick email. And I know the staff has tons and tons of things to do, and we try not to burden the staff anymore. But especially on something like this, which is a very atypical kind of correspondence going out as a planning board communication, I'll just echo what Mike's comments were, and that's just mine. my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Uh,
Elijah, I see that. I see you raising your.
Yes, so I definitely get the board's concerns. I will be completely honest. This is my first time dealing with an open seat on a planning board and filling it as an elected seat. And so I was following previous protocols per the last vacancy, which was before my tenure. And so
It's your first rodeo too, then, Elijah?
yes, yeah. Um, so um, yeah, I did share this letter with the board, but I could, in the future, if something like this does happen, I can definitely kind of send it ahead of time before it becomes a public document, and I'll make sure that I confer with town staff to make sure that we're doing things to the best of our ability as it relates to getting that input. And so
Yeah.
I was able to update the letter a little bit. Madam Chair, Ellen was able to kind of point out that need for a broader scope in terms of applicant pool, and showing that all are encouraged to apply regardless of prior experience.
Thank you. I know it can be and like I said, I've been part of appointing someone before, but not as chair. And I appreciate that. Maybe if we have to do this again, I hope we don't. Nobody is allowed to leave. Nobody can move and nobody can resign. But if we do have to do this again, I think that's the part that if we get to see it before it's already out there, because I know you shared it with us and I do appreciate that, but I think it had already gone out by the time we kind of looked at it. So if that's something that's within the rules or whatever the other side of the process is, I think that's what I'm hearing is that board members would like to have some input prior to it going out rather than to have to revise it after it's been published, to be able to kind of solidify some consensus or reflect the thoughts of the board prior to it, an iteration of it going out. And again, I'm not sure how that works as far as working with the select board and whatnot, but if that's something that is within our purview to do, I think that's what I'm hearing would be desirable. And I think I would prefer that too. So thank you for that conversation about the process. I think that's important because we're all kind of new at this in one way or another. So
yeah, and I want to make completely clear that my comment was not intended as a criticism of how Elijah or the staff handled this process. My comment was, if per Massachusetts law, this was under the jurisdiction of the select board and they basically had the final say and approval. In my view, this should have just been a letter from the select board. But I think obviously the best route next time would be to potentially work together and have us review it beforehand. Obviously that would be preferable too. But my comment was not a criticism of Elijah, how this was handled. I just want to make that clear. So
thank you. Yeah, mine was not meant that way either. I appreciate, Elijah, you were very collaborative with me. I think some of the timing was funny that select board kind of posted before we had discussed it as a board. So I think some of it was just a timing thing. And I do appreciate the efforts to update the listing to better reflect the conversations the board had. So thank you for that too. Any other discussion on the vacancy and the process moving forward?
I had a quick question. Do we think the candidates will be required to appear at the meeting and give a presentation, or is it just going to be based on paper, the applications on paper that will make the decision? I don't advocate one way or the other. I'm just curious how it might work.
That's a good question.
I can answer that. So in the past, and what will be most likely carried on in this upcoming hearing, is that it's a joint hearing by both select board and planning board. the applicants will be made aware of the upcoming hearing and encouraged to attend. They will be there. You'll be able to review their letters of intent and the resume prior to the hearing, and at the hearing, I believe they're asked kind of one question to kind of open the floor and give their the why as to their application for the position.
Yeah,
That's
that's
all.
my current understanding. For me, I could just from my perspective, some of that will depend on how many applicants we actually end up with. That might change how it makes sense to proceed. But yeah, that's what we did last time. We had 5 or 6, I think, candidates. There was like the same question posed to each person, particularly given that we will have all the materials ahead of time, but it's good to have a little dialogue with people in person too. And then the boards kind of together shared their thoughts on the candidates. And I'm trying to, I believe, like, we didn't go through each candidate and say thumbs up, thumbs down. It was more of a, who is your top choice? And then that kind of narrowed things down. And I think it took a couple of rounds to land on a replacement, if I remember correctly. Jess, I
You're
see
right
your
on.
hand up.
You're right on, Ellen. It is,
Oh.
I remember the vote. It was very strange. I want to say it was 2020, but I'm probably wrong on the date. We were definitely all online. It was definitely a joint meeting. It's all out there. You're having an interview in front of everybody on Zoom, and the voting is done right there, everything on Zoom. Is that how they're going to do it again, Elijah? I assume, or maybe Nora, if she's still on, but that's how I
Are
remember
we
it.
allowed to ask questions or only one? That's just
Is
one
it just one
question.
question?
That I don't
Exa-
remember.
I
That's
think it's
very
more.
odd.
I think it's more along the lines of having kind of that one question. Depends on, I guess, the applicant pool and the timing
Is that
for.
written somewhere? Is there some, or is that just like custom? That strikes me as extremely odd.
And
I think
who poses the question? Who makes up the question?
Exactly.
Like who?
So
I think
I believe the select board, since they are driving the train, but I can kind of follow up for sure.
Thanks. Yeah.
So if
I
somebody
asked
gives an
a little
answer,
bit about that.
What was
Sorry,
that?
I asked a little bit about that, and what I was last time it was the 2 chairs kind of collaborate. They landed on one question kind of together. I don't know that there's anything that says we have to do it a certain way, and that, Elijah, if you could check on that, I'd appreciate. If there's any, I don't remember seeing anything in the law, but I didn't get to that level of minutia as to whether or not there's anything that dictates to that level of detail what we can and can't do. If there is some discretion, I personally think it's important for the board members, since each of us has been duly elected by potentially different constituents, to have a chance to have some input. I think that it may take a little extra time, but I think that's important. There may be something, we'll have all materials ahead of time, but there may be something that comes up in person or out of an answer to a question that sparks a question or a concern or an interest in a board member. So I would be interested in how much leeway we have process wise on that, because I think that's important.
I think we should have a full understanding of how the procedure is going to work, because if a candidate gives an answer that just is baffling or just doesn't, whatever, I find it very odd that there would be no process for a follow-up by anyone. I'm not saying this has to be a full, application that's, but it is, it's just a very odd one question by both chairs. It strikes me as, I think we should have this vetted a little bit better, because I would like to at least have some understanding as to what the heck is going to happen.
That's fair. I see Nora's hand up.
Yeah, I think you're reading a little bit more into it. I think it's going to be a process that evolves during the meeting. The chair of the select board and the chair of the planning board will jointly speak at the meeting itself about how the process will go through. This has been done many times in the past. I can remember being at least 5 or 6 of these. And in all cases, the individual applicants were given an opportunity to make a statement about why they would be the best candidate for the position. And then board members asked questions or, made comments on their experience with candidates that they knew. And it kind of is somewhat free flowing. And it's up to the chairs to keep it in line. So, it won't be a process that gets out of hand, but there will be as much discussion as is needed to decide who is the best candidate for the position. So there's no limit to one question.
So yeah, that's
Okay.
not rigid, right? That's more of
No.
a guideline. But yeah, I honestly, I don't remember how much discussion we had last time interacting with. I know we had discussion amongst ourselves as the two boards. I don't remember how much discussion we had with individual candidates if there was follow-up. So, but as long as there's room for that, I think it's, and it sounds like there is, it can be, it's not incredibly formal, like there's no cutoff, but I think that sounds like that's what folks are looking for on the board. Thanks, Nora. So if that clarifies the process, if Phil, if there's anything else that you wanted a little bit more clarified,
I'd like to have some, whatever the description is, just like sent around so everybody gets on the same page, particularly since if the select board is driving the process, their thoughts and views, and as compared to if I have a question, am I supposed to go through Rob and Ellen, or do I get to ask it? If there's a follow-up to mine that Mike would like to ask, that seems like it would be kind of appropriate. I mean, it strikes me as it's an interview before a group that typically would be kind of straightforward. Then it's just the structure that's being described. While it might have occurred in the past, I'm not sure it's necessarily binding on us to do it in the future. And I just would like to have an understanding because it's very, very vague.
Yeah, I agree with Phil, and I think if it is as Nora says it has been in the past, which I can see working well as well, to have an understanding that that's how it's going to go versus, when we get in there, someone else having a structure of how they want to do it. It would just be helpful to have a heads up on what it's going to look like if there's any specifics that people have been agreed upon, basically.
No, that's good. I think consensus and clear expectations from both boards will be helpful. I see Nora's hand up again too.
Yeah, I would just say that the two chairs can get together and discuss that ahead of the meeting, but the actual format of the meeting will be explained by the chairs in the course of the meeting. So you can speak ahead of time, but there won't be another meeting of the planning board and there won't be another meeting of the select board before this happens. So the process will be spelled out at the start of the meeting, and every board member will have an opportunity to speak, to ask questions, to ask follow-up, but they will do so through the chair.
Excellent.
Board
Thank you.
members are not allowed to speak. It has to be through the chair, Nora.
Board
Is that what you're
members
saying?
will be able to speak by addressing their questions to the applicant through the chair.
So.
And this
how
is
does
only going to
that
be set
proceed?
forth. This is only going to be decided at the time of the meeting.
If this joint meeting occurs on September 29th, as it's planned to occur, that is the next time the planning board will meet, and that is the next time that the select board will meet. So there won't be an opportunity for the planning board and the select board to meet ahead of time to lay out procedures, but the two chairs are able to meet. They're able to discuss this and come up with a procedure, and that procedure will be explained to everyone at the start of the meeting.
If I may add to that, and the discussion portion is very much like what we do in the planning board when Ellen opens it up for discussion and you're asking questions of an applicant. It is technically through the chair that you are asking the questions.
So if I understand, it would just be the same, like if Maureen has a question for an applicant, and I'm just using you as an example, she would just have to be recognized by me. So if I see her hand up or then I just have to basically recognize her, and then she can interact directly with the applicants. I don't have to interpret the words, right? It's no different than the way we deal with an applicant or public participation or anything here.
That's right. It's
Okay.
going to be an appropriate but somewhat informal process of discussion. The whole point is to meet the applicants, to hear from them, and to have dialogue between board members and applicants to make sure that the person you're selecting is the person that'll be best for the job.
Okay, so through the chair simply means it's just procedural. That's it.
Correct.
Okay. So I will keep my eyes open for hands and make sure I'm recognizing people quickly so that they can say and ask whatever questions and interact as they need to. Is that helpful?
Yes.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. I appreciate that clarification because I was honestly not quite clear on what we could and couldn't do and how we were going to move forward with interacting with candidates, because I want everybody to be able to ask their questions, and the same as we do here with the public and applicants and whatnot. So that is helpful. I guess it sounds like I should have a conversation with the select board chair and then maybe through Elijah, let people know what they're thinking as well. But and also if there's board members that have anything else they want to add through Elijah, maybe get it back to myself and the select board chair as well if something comes up after this meeting that you think of outside of this part of the discussion, because I want to make sure everyone's concerns, questions, and requests are noted. So if you think of something else after this meeting, please let Elijah know and he'll make sure it gets to myself and the select board chair. Anything else on the candidate search?
The only thing I would add is, can we have how the one question is going to be posed, circulated prior to the meeting?
I don't think there's one question. I'm not really sure where that's coming from. I believe candidates are going to be given an opportunity to make a presentation of their qualifications for the position. So I don't think there's a specific question. I think people submit their letter of intent and their resumes, and then they come to the meeting and they tell the joint board why they're the best person for the job. I don't think there is a specific question that's intended to be asked, but if the two chairs decide on a question, then that format will be provided to the applicants and to each of you so that you'll know what it is ahead of time.
I think based on the materials that were pulled from the last time, what you said is exactly what the one question was last time, which was, why do you feel you're the best candidate for the board? So it's exactly what you just said, and that's what on record was the question the last time we did this. So if there's other things that I don't necessarily want to have a question aside from that ahead of time. I would rather things come up organically because we don't know what people are going to say, and then have direct interaction between the boards. So yeah, I think there'll be one question, maybe a little, it may be setting an expectation other than what that was the question, is why do you think you're the best candidate for the board? So it's an opportunity for each candidate to kind of advocate for themselves over and above what they submit. I don't really have anything else in mind. I have not spoken with the select board chair, so I don't know if he does, but that's kind of what I was thinking, is that's kind of what they would come prepared to say. And then it would go from there depending on what board members ask. Is that helpful, Phil?
No, that's good. I just like to know what's going to be coming up, just as we get a package before a meeting, whatever the application is, an EIDR. I'd like to know what's happening, and I'd like to read it ahead of time to know what's going on.
Absolutely. And yeah, through Elijah, I can report back once the select board chair and I have had a chance to talk and figure out if there's, any other ideas or any other thoughts about how to do this. But I think that format has worked well in the past. And as long as everybody gets a chance to interact and ask their questions, I think that will work well again. But yes, I will report back once I've had a chance to catch up with Rob, and well before the deadline, so that I'll try and catch up with him this week, if not, early next week, so that we can reach consensus on that and then loop everybody else in. And again, if anyone has any thoughts, questions, or concerns, please send them via Elijah outside of, if you think of it after today. Okay, any other discussion on agenda item 4? Okay. Then our next agenda item is the review of the draft meeting minutes from August 19th, 2025. Did everyone have a chance to look at those? And did anyone have any input or any changes that they would like to request?
I didn't
I,
see
I reviewed and have no comments.
Okay.
anything.
Yes, I didn't have anything that I wanted to change or add. Okay, if there's no other discussion on the minutes, I would entertain a motion.
Want me to do this?
Sure.
All right. I move that the planning board approve the minutes for the meeting of August 19, 2025 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing no discussion, I'll take roll call. Mike?
Aye.
Maureen?
Aye.
Phil?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. That motion carries. Thank you, Jess, as always. Our next agenda item is updates from agency and committee representatives. Has anyone attended any other, anyone who's liaisons to whatnot, has anyone attended any meetings they would like to give us an update on? Elijah.
Yes. So I have 2 updates. So the design guidelines task force, all the members have been sworn in. I had originally proposed the date in September. I unfortunately did not realize that it fell on Rosh Hashanah, so I will be moving that date, and we are looking at potentially meeting October 8th as the first kickoff meeting. So more to come, and we did also receive some updates from our summer intern that did a great job in pooling together some resources for the task force. The second update, I attended the TRIC meeting, the Three Rivers Interlocal Council meeting this morning. It was really nice. It was held at the Paul Revere Heritage Site. I had never been there. I had driven by there so many times, and it was really nice to actually go there and see what was going on, and learned a lot more about Paul Revere than I ever did in any of my history classes. So yeah, it was good. I can share some. I'll share with the board. They just have some updates as regards to potential grant opportunities that are happening. I believe the next meeting is sometime in October.
Thank you. Yeah, that heritage site is cool. I don't think I realized there was a Paul Revere heritage site in Canton until I was part of TRIC a couple years ago, but I'm glad you were able to attend that. And I'd be very interested in hearing more about those grants at some point. I always like grants, so thank you for staying on top of all that. Anyone?
Just one question, Elijah. The 24th is off of September. That's not happening.
Correct. It is not happening, unfortunately.
Okay. Just happy to hear that. Just trying to keep my calendar squared away. So looking forward to that. We will be, since I'm going to be chair, or am chair, or whatever. We will be looking for another planning board member to join our little organization, right, Elijah?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Right. So folks who are currently on the board and folks who are thinking about applying for the vacancy, that is something with Sean having left us. We will need a second member on the design guidelines task force. And I would, if I were not chair of this board, I would be interested in that, because I think that that's an opportunity to really have some really impactful input. So yes, I encourage both of you and whoever else is thinking about joining the planning board to consider volunteering. Excellent.
Elijah, so if I could coordinate with you on some of the materials, the interns, because I've actually been proactively gathering some information myself that I think we can have the kickoff meeting be in pretty good shape. So I'm looking forward to it. So.
Yeah, for sure. We can set up a meeting in the upcoming weeks.
Yep, that sounds great. Thanks.
Two quick questions logistical about that. Are those, they're going to be public meetings? Yes.
Public meetings. I still
person,
am
though.
mulling.
In person.
Yeah, so
Okay.
my thought was that we have quarterly in-person meetings, so making sure that there's one meeting every quarter that's in person. I was thinking of like the different villages, so being somewhere on High Street, another one being in Islington, another being in University Ave area, and then in between those meetings, being able to have remote meetings. But this is all just thoughts right now. I'd be presenting it to the task force at the kickoff meeting.
Right.
And if other
ahead
planning
of the
board
kickoff
members,
meeting.
so if we have two planning board members on the task force, a third planning board member attending would be a quorum. But would that be something that we could, excuse me, like advertise if other board members wanted to attend the meeting? Would that be something that would be doable? Because I definitely would be interested in going to particularly the in-person meetings, but I also don't want to cause a problem by forming a quorum.
I mean, I can always post like
Okay.
a meeting, a joint, another meeting notice with the planning board.
Okay. So that's just, I'm just thinking ahead. I think there may be interest from many board members on that. So, okay. That was just a logistical question. Any other agency or committee updates? Has anyone attended any other meetings that they'd like to report out on? Yeah, none of my other working groups have really been meeting, so I don't have much to add at this point. Okay. Then our next agenda item is general miscellaneous updates and administrative items. Elijah?
None at the moment.
All
Well,
right.
the housing production plan is in the process of being updated. Potentially November, December date for presenting it to the board.
Excellent.
Elijah, do you know if Amanda finalized the date? Because I know we did the doodle thing, but I don't think I got a notice on when our next meeting is.
Yeah, I think she has
Because
to,
we were I was concerned about the design task force because it was gonna be around the same time, and I wanted to make sure. Now that's pushed off, but I still don't have it in my calendar. I'm just looking.
Yes, I think she'll be reaching out again with some other potential dates.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Just wanted to know. Great, appreciate it. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Anything else? Any other general miscellaneous updates or administrative items, either from staff or from board members? All right, then our last agenda item is a reminder. We have upcoming board meetings on September 30th, 2025, October 21st, 2025, and November 18th, 2025. So that's our fall schedule. Any other agenda or any other items that board members or staff wanted to address?
Just question, Madam Chair, would the person being selected on the 29th then be attending the 30th?
I believe so, yeah. Or they'd have to
Presumably.
be sworn in at town hall. Yeah.
They'd have to, if the paperwork was filled out in the morning, just saying if we're able to get a full board, that'd be great.
Right. Yeah, I think that as long as, yes, as long as they go up to town hall and get sworn in before the start of the meeting, I think we're good, right? So
Yeah,
excellent.
That sounds like a doable process. Just to get a fifth board member would be good.
It would be good to not be at a full complement for very long. So I agree. I think that would be nice to have 5 board members on the 30th of September. Good question. All right, if there is nothing else, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on adjournment? I always love asking that question. Seeing none, I will take roll call. Phil,
I vote aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Maureen,
Aye.
I vote aye as well. Thank you all for a very
Thank you,
efficient
everyone.
and productive
Thank you.
meeting.
Thank you,
Enjoy your
everyone.
evening,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Have a
Good night.
See ya.
Bye bye.
Good
Good night.
night.
Bye.